Hi, this is Brendan Davis from Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog, and I'm just going to do a quick discussion today about That Fiery Girl, a 1968 film directed by Yan Jun and starring Cheng Pei-Pei. I'm just kind of going back and looking at Cheng Pei-Pei's filmography, and I covered a number of them on the blog years ago, but she passed away recently, and so I've been making a point of going through them in order. So I recently did The Thundering Sword, and I've been doing the wuxia movies. There's a lot of movies that I'm skipping over. I skipped over also Golden Swallow because I've seen that so much and I've covered it so much here and on the blog and stuff. I have a lot of thoughts on that movie, but you can certainly see them, just if you just search through the blog or search through the podcast. But That Fiery Girl is a movie I haven't seen in a while. There was a slew of movies that I remember, but I haven't seen them in recent years, and so these are the ones that I really kind of want to get another look at anyways. And this is one, I was kind of looking at my old log here on it, and I have the Celestial Pictures DVD, so I kind of had to do a bit of a search through. I recently reorganized all of my martial arts movies, and I put them all into a giant binder, and so all of my old Shaw Brothers DVDs are in this massive, like 500 disc binder, and I had to go sifting through it to find it. Thankfully, I was able to find it. One problem is those old DVDs, they don't really look as good on newer TVs and newer Blu-ray players, so the close-up scenes all look fine, but you kind of end up missing out a little bit on the wide shots. They look a little bit pixelated and stuff. But this movie's an interesting one. I think that, number one, Cheng Pei-Pei does a great job in it. I always like seeing her in these movies. Something that I was really noticing watching this one was her stances and her poise. She just has a really great physique for the camera, and there's a number of scenes where you see it. One, she's wearing a phoenix crown because there's a wedding, and it's a really remarkable set piece. I think that if you go look at the blog and you look at my review of the movie, which I think I did in 2015 or so, but it's on. If you go to the left-hand column under Wuxia Inspiration, you'll see all of my reviews, and you can see pictures of that scene. And it's just this wonderful scene of her in a wedding gown and a phoenix crown with a sword, and so the poise, the footwork. And as I said before, you see her getting better and better with each movie as she's becoming more and more of an action star. So in this one, you almost see it over the course of the film itself. And again, I don't know what order things were shot in, but I feel like by the end of the movie, everything just is a lot more... number one, there are a lot more fights at the end of the movie anyways, but everything feels kind of tighter in terms of all the physical performances. But the plot is fairly straightforward. It's basically she belongs to this group called the Hulu Bandits, the Hulu Valley Bandits, and they're going after the Mei Clan, who are kind of like their enemies, and trying to get this treasure map that the Mei Clan controls. So when we first are introduced to the character, she's leading bandits into the Mei Clan headquarters, and you can tell that she's more restrained than the other bandits. She just wants the treasure map, but the other bandits just, are ready to kill, and so they burn the place down and everything. And so the rest of the Mei Clan want revenge. And in order to do that, the character Feng Chung, played by Qian Lung, is goes in and infiltrates. There's an involved reason how he does this, but he infiltrates the Hulu Valley Bandits. He becomes their fourth chief, and Cheng Pei-Pei's character, who's called Pearl by the members of her sect, but who's called Red Chili or Hot Chili, depending on the version that you see, by people in the martial world. She ends up falling in love with him, and then they have this love triangle. And what's interesting about the movie is it really becomes more about the inner turmoil within the Hulu Valley Bandits organization itself. So it's kind of like about sect turmoil, the internal politics of a sect, and all of the interpersonal drama within the sect. It's, I think, really very interesting for that reason. There is plenty of fighting in the movie, but it's a little bit more measured in the first three-fourths. You do get action scenes sprinkled here and there, but the stakes are not particularly high until the very end. And I think that works because, again, the focus is really more on the characters, on all of the machinations of, like the clan leader's wife and her brother and all of these people. The brother wants to marry Chili Pepper, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with him, and so he's resentful of this guy who suddenly joined them and become the fourth chief, and he's working to prove that there's something wrong with him. And because you as an audience member know that he's a spy, that really elevates the stakes. And then we learn, again, these movies, they all have what I always call them the 20-year backstory. Really, they're usually more like the 18-year backstory, but we learn about Chili Pepper's secret history, the clan leader's secret history. There's a secret that's revealed. I think they do a really good job kind of hinting that something is amiss, and I like the way that it's revealed. I love these backstories that sort of reframe everything in the movie for the characters. It's a hallmark of the genre, but I'm a big sucker for it. So I don't know. On this viewing, my estimation of the movie probably went up because I think the last time around I was much more focused on the action and the fight choreography of movies just in this genre in general. And this time I was much more interested in the interpersonal stuff. And also I think that one of the good things about this movie is you really get to see Cheng Pei-Pei act in a more complicated role than in maybe some of the other movies, because there's so much going on within the sect, and her character is so interesting. She's kind of, again, the character name kind of says it all, but she's, the daughter of the clan chief, and she has a lot of personality and a lot of gumption, and is what my aunt would have called a willful child. And so I found her character really worked for the plot of the story, and Cheng Pei-Pei in the role is really great. But yeah, so this is this is a 1968 film. Just to kind of go through her filmography again, 'cause I know I covered it the last time. And again, she had a bunch of other movies. She was in the Monkey Go West movies and all that stuff, and in movies with dance numbers, and like Hong Kong Nocturne and all these things. But in terms of the wuxia movies, and again, these filmographies are not always complete. I'm not saying that this is absolute. Sometimes I'll learn about an actor and I'll find their filmography, and it'll just be a partial glimpse into what they did, and maybe movies didn't make it over here, or there are movies that have been forgotten over time. But Come Drink With Me is sort of ground zero, and then the Thundering Sword, which I did last week, I think, and then after that, Golden Swallow, which is the sequel to Come Drink With Me. It's a really interesting film. And again, I'm probably going to do a separate discussion of it, but I skipped over it this time. Again, you can see my thoughts all over the place on it. And then after Golden Swallow is That Fiery Girl. And then that's followed by Jade Raksha, which I also did recently, so I probably won't do again this time. So this is, again, still like within the first 2 years of these kind of movies for and I feel like you really start to see her get better and better as time goes on. But yeah, I mean, I can't. Again, I have to say, like, I don't normally commemorate actors who have passed away on this channel. I think once in a while we'll mention it if it's before a movie and we know somebody's died, but I don't do like week-long things or anything like that. But in the case of Cheng Pei-Pei, she was so influential on me as a viewer, and on all the stuff that I did with Wandering Heroes of Overgate. I think it's safe to say if there weren't Cheng Pei-Pei movies, there wouldn't be a Wandering Heroes of Overgate. If you go and you look at the artwork and look at the characters and everything there, you can see that she's probably the single biggest influence in terms of an actor on everything that I was doing. Lady Whiteblade is inspired by Cheng Pei-Pei. Strange Phoenix is inspired by Cheng Pei-Pei. I really was trying to get a lot of those Cheng Pei-Pei movies. I think I specifically mentioned it in the intro. I could be wrong, but yeah. So I wanted to make a point of doing a more prolonged review of her stuff, and also going back and seeing things that I hadn't seen in a while, because I did this post where I was trying to sort of rank her films, and I only ended up ranking 1 through 7 because there were a lot of movies that I remembered but I hadn't seen in so many years that I wasn't really sure where I would rank them on a list of, say, like 1 to 10 or whatever the list is. So I wanted to go back and see those movies again and see what I thought about them, because a lot of times those are films that I would see in sort of like splurges, where I just would watch, like, That Fiery Girl, Dragon Swamp, The Flying Dagger, Rock Hard. I would just kind of go through them all, and it's you don't always rank things well when you don't go back and kind of consciously sort of look at them towards a ranking system. So yeah. So again, it was I think she was 70 years old when she passed away, and it was I can't remember the day now, but I think it was last week or at least several days ago. In fact, I'll try to. It was July 17th, so 10 days ago she passed away. And again, a lot of people, I think, know her from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And one of the reasons why I'm going through these is because a point that I've tried to make to people is, if you know her in that role and you like that movie, you really should go back and see these films, because there's a lot of callbacks in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Sometimes in action scenes, sometimes in, like the name of her character, things like that. But I mean, there's a reason she's in that movie, and so she's, and also I think, like, one thing that I always like is I like to show people the movie Come Drink With Me, and I think now it's again, I think maybe this connection is more widely known, and obviously among fans of Shaw Brothers and stuff, this connection is very well known and has always been. But if you show people that only have like passing familiarity with the genre, and usually it'll be movies like Hero, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, if you sit them down and show them Come Drink With Me, you don't tell them that Cheng Pei-Pei is in it. You just let them watch the movie, and her face, it's not her face, it's her expressions. She has these very recognizable expressions that she makes in these movies, and I think usually about 15 to 20 minutes in, they start noticing that expression, the expressions, and that they look familiar, and usually they're able to make the connection to Jade Fox from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And I always find that very fascinating to watch with people, because it's kind of like, it's like this dawning look of delight as they realize who she is, because she's so much younger in that came out in 1966. Yeah, so again, this movie is, I really like it. I think that it does a really great job of sort of building up to the climax and focusing in on all of the character stuff and all of this drama that's going on within the sect. And another thing I like about it is I love these classic late 60s movies. I mean, I like those movies in general anyways, but particularly in this genre. They just kind of have a feel and a vibe that's different from the stuff that came later. It's a little more swashbuckly. It's a little bit more... there's a little bit more of like an Errol Flynn feel to it. There's a little bit more of a like an old Western style feel to these movies, and I don't know. I really enjoy them. Sometimes that's a hurdle, because when I send people back to go watch them, they'll, the sets, the old timiness of it, that can sometimes take some people out. I think they're great movies, and again, this one's, I think, got some pretty remarkable visuals in it, in terms of costuming and in terms of these moments. Again, like the scene where she's in the Phoenix Crown is the one that really stands out. And it's not like say like a Chang Che film or a King Hu film, but it just has some really nice moments in it, and I like seeing the inner workings of the sect. You really get a sense of how the sect works, and I think that's number one. It's useful just in terms of understanding the genre. If you're a gamer, it's even more useful because it really gives you a lot to work with if you're trying to run a game or build a character or whatever. That the whole movie essentially takes place within a sect headquarters. There's a few scenes at the beginning that are away from the sect headquarters. I think there might be a couple here and there sprinkled in that are also away, but for the most part, all of the action occurs in this one location. And it's a sprawling location because it's a sect headquarters in the mountains. There's plenty of variety within that, but it really kind of allows it to focus in on the drama. I think that's what works about the movie. And again, Cheng Pei-Pei is wonderful in it. The lead actor who plays Feng Chun is also very good here. If you're a Gu Feng fan, he's in this too. He's got more of a side role. But yeah, so it's and also I have to give what's his name? Chung Lei, I think is the name. He's the guy who plays the third chief. He's jealous because this guy's come in and become the fourth chief, and he's really good at sort of the antagonistic, rival, who's sort of part of the love triangle. So, so definitely worth checking out. And I'm gonna do more of these. I'm not gonna do like 30-minute long, pieces on them. So, I'm gonna keep them relatively short unless something warrants a longer discussion. But I would encourage you, if you haven't gone, and this one's harder to find. This one is not, to my knowledge, is not out by the Shout Factory people, so that means it's not on Amazon. I was looking online to see if there's anywhere to stream it. I couldn't find it, so I had to dig out my DVD. I don't know how available that DVD is. There's really, I'm sure that there's probably versions of it out there that people can find, but this one you might not be able to. I don't know. If you can, definitely worth picking up. The other ones that I'm going to be covering, those are easier to get. So I think the next one on the list is, we already did the Jade Raksha, so probably Dragon Swamp. And that one will be something that you can see on Amazon, or you can get in one of the box sets. Check out our older movies. And again, if you don't want to see them all, definitely check out Lady Hermit. Definitely check out Come Drink With Me for sure. And I would say, if you have to pick another one, Golden Swallow or the Jade Raksha. But they're all of these early movies of hers are good. The Shadow Whip's another really good one. I quite like the Shadow Whip. So again, unfortunately, Cheng Pei-Pei passed away on July 17th, and so I'm just doing these to pay my respects, and I would encourage other people to check her out. Go see her movies. She's been in a lot of films, even like she had like a kind of retirement phase, but she comes back and has cameos, has larger roles. You can go. Maybe I'll do some of the more recent ones too, because I haven't really covered those much. So I don't think I've even covered Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on the channel, just because I know everybody's seen it. So maybe I'll do that one. If I do, I might want to get Jeremy in, because he's a real big fan of it. So I will let you go, and until next time, I will talk to you later.